Live from the city of Los Angeles. It is May 8th, 2023. I'm your host, Duane Copefield. This is the weekly tap in, and I'm tapping in. It's good, y'all. Man, a nice, good week. Let me go ahead and adjust my camera a little bit. Right? Nice week for us. Hope all is well. Let me turn my gain down. I've learned so much about audio, dog. So, those who are just tapping in for the first time, man, make sure you put your city in. This is episode number 25 of season 4, man. We are almost done with season 4. Can you guys believe it? We do 30 episodes per season. So those who are just now tapping in, yeah, man. Look forward to 5 more, and then we'll go into season 5. And we don't stop, man. We keep going as long as God keeps giving us content. We will continue on and carry on, man. What is good, family? What is good? Today, special topic. We are talking about the universe might not be ready. And a lot of times, and the reason why we're picking that particular topic is because time and patience, right? Two of the things that we really have the most difficult time we're really trying to negotiate in our life is our time. Like, where do we spend it, and how much time do we spend doing a particular thing? And also, when things come to us, right? When we're ready to receive them, rather, not necessarily as they come to us, when we're ready to receive them, because there are some things that we need to do to prepare ourselves to receive certain things and specific things in life, right? And it is until those times come where we will not actually reap any of our blessings. We won't see them, right? It's not going to happen at that time. But what can you do in between that time? That's the beauty in it, right? Because if the universe isn't ready or you're not ready, it's not going to happen for you. It's just not, right? And oftentimes there's a lot of things that need to be prepared in order for that thing to happen for you in your life. You feel what I'm saying? And it's at this time that we could do our daily deposits, right? We could do daily deposits to work towards that goal. We know we may not see that goal. It may not even happen for us. And that's where the ego, right? Separating ourselves from the ego, whereas it may not even happen for us, right? That's crazy to really think about that. Like, man, you know what? The blessing to see the thing that I wanted to see, the thing that I've been imagining, may be for my kids. It may be for somebody else in my family, maybe for a stranger, maybe for somebody else. But that's okay, right? And that's a hard one to swallow because we want everything ourselves, man. We deserve it, right? As we should. We should think like that. We deserve these things. But at the same time, we may be denied for one thing, but the universe has prepared us for bigger and larger blessings. And I know some of us have may not experienced that just yet. I get that because everybody has it. It's not for everybody at that time, right? So it's oftentimes, and I told you guys about this last week, where I get these messages from God that are only intended for me, right? So last night I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Why? These are this is how random my life is. So I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I normally don't watch biography anymore because the content started getting garbage, right? They at one time they had some noble people that they'd be featuring, and you could learn some stuff and be inspired, and it started getting garbage. But tonight, for some reason, I said, let me stop and look at this. And first, it had a description of the Dalai Lama, and then next came on was Norman Vincent Peale, and I was like, interesting, man. I read Norman Vincent Peale, and I like his books. I like his whole, it's church based. I mean, religion based, but he was more inspirational, right? So who would have known this was on at this time of night? And that's what I mean by defined experiences, right? Don't the video games, don't neglect any experiences. Don't be a lazy ass. I'm not saying that, but what did Albert Einstein say? And I can't even really think of the quote, but it's in he says something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing that. It's in times where we're wasting time that we actually are the most productive. And I may be murking that, but it's what it is. It's when you think about it, right? When do we get our most brilliant ideas? Is when we're not really paying attention or focused, or in previous episodes as we stated, stalking our damn dreams, right? And harassing them. It's when we start to let go of things and when they actually come to fruition, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? We think about it, right? It's really counterintuitive. Like if I let go, nah, you're supposed to mash on your dreams, right? You're supposed to, well, man, wouldn't there comfort be? The universe might not be ready yet. That would give us comfort, like, okay, the universe isn't ready for my big ass idea yet. And you don't want to be early like Google Glasses. And then I had students do presentations today, and they were talking about the first laundromat, the first airport. I think the first laundromat was in Texas. First airport was in Maryland somewhere or something like that. And and they were talking about these things. And a lot of times you think about whether they were accepted at that time or not. And most people thought that they were nuts. And they were talking about the smartwatch and the first versions of these smartwatches and how just the timing, not necessarily the technology. So I don't want you guys to start to think that just because your dream hasn't come true, that it's not going to come true. It may be a timing thing. You don't want your dream to come through at the wrong time. All right. 'Cause when you haven't it face these things like adversity, right? To build your character and other things that it builds in you. Maybe you haven't experienced any type of trials or tribulation. I have. You know what I mean? So it's a difference for me, right? And oftentimes God won't give you a blessing if you still have character steps to build, right? If you're not necessarily 100% pure, you're not all the way right, you're not going to get the blessing because he's not going to waste it. He don't want you to waste your time. He don't want the universe to waste its time building all this stuff, and you don't follow through with it. And you be like, you know what, God, I need another dream. Ah, you know what I mean? So you may have to start to say, okay, cool. I'm not ready, or the universe isn't ready. But either one of us isn't ready yet. And that's okay. What can I do in between that time? What's my daily deposits? What do I need to learn? What do I need to get nice at? Right? A lot of things are coming into play right now that are hugely beneficial to us, right? Artificial intelligence. People are like, oh, what is that? And it's okay to play dumb for a while. That's okay. Like it's okay to play like I don't. It doesn't matter. But once you start to understand what kind of businesses you can build, you'll see how the early adopters usually get ahead, right? So don't necessarily look at it from a standpoint of it's intimidating. I can't. It's beyond my my capabilities or my spectrum. Nah, homie. You know what I'm saying? You can dip into it. You could do a Google search. You could download Chat GPT. You can start playing around with things and see what you can come up with. They got artificial intelligence for a lot of things. So that wasn't when people first was talking about that, the world wasn't ready yet because we didn't know how to actually apply it. We didn't know what we were going to do with it, right? We just knew that it had the potential of doing XYZ, but we didn't really know what we could do with it. Now we do. When you think about college, right? Oftentimes there's people that go to college and they're like, man, I'm just going because it's the next step out versus that person that knows why they're there, right? It's a difference, right? So you don't want like the college experience sometimes can burn people out the first freshman year, whatever. Oh, it's too much because it probably wasn't your idea, right? And if you go to Europe, they do it in reverse order. They make you go do an apprenticeship first, and then you go to school. So you actually go learn a skill first, and then you have the option to actually go to school and or trade school and continue and carry on. Right. Ours is a little bit different, right? And I'm making that point to say, we may not be mentally prepared for this thing that we're asking for just yet. So it may fall on us, but I'm saying it can go both ways. It's not necessarily one way. It can go both ways. So if I'm not prepared or if the universe isn't prepared, then what can I do in the process to make sure that when we do meet, I'm still who I am. I'm not taking steps backwards in the process of finding things that appease me, right? What's up, Tanisha? So you got to find things that are conducive or that are in the same direction as your goals, right? So you may not be able to reach this large goal. I told students today, I said, when we were talking about laundromats, I said, why? One of my students challenged me and he was like, I said, why can't we build a laundry or a washing machine that can wash clothes in 5 minutes? And they were just like, because it's just not possible. I just, that's you're talking silly to me. And I said, why is that silly? We have engineers, we have technology, we have things to where we don't even technically have to wash the clothes. You could put UV light and it takes, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, why is that not a possibility. And this is the thing. This is why it's so critical to watch your surroundings, because people will limit your possibilities by their limited possibilities. And what I mean by that is that because they haven't been exposed to these moonshot or these big giant ideas that were ideas before the world accepted them. That's why I always consider myself. I consider myself an outlier, right? Now, I don't fit in the normal. No, I'm not going to blow up overnight. No, I'm not going to turn into a million or something. It's just not. That's not the type. It might happen. Who knows? But that's not the type of content or not the type of plan that I'm on. I understand that this is a long-term plan. And it's really to not necessarily be entertaining and make millions and millions of dollars, but it's to develop myself. So the dream that I'm asking for is large, but what can I do in the process? I can start a podcast. I can try to develop other individuals. I can try to inspire other leaders. I can go to school and teach and perfect my craft so that I learn how to speak and I do eloquent speeches like Harry Belafonte, right? This takes time and practice. And as you can see, I speak on a regular basis. Therefore, I'm getting better and better and better. You don't see uhs, all that stuff, not unless I'm lazy. But I've been to Toastmasters. I've spoken in front of audiences. I understand how to read audiences. I've learned how to, work the room. I've learned how to take pauses as opposed to uhs, and all these things. So yeah, my dream may come true. I want to be a published author. I want to go around the world and sell books. God knows this. We've already talked about this many moons ago. But the universe might not be ready. I talked to one of my favorite authors, Keith Harrell, RIP, right? He wrote look him up, sent him an email, man. The dude called me. And right before he passed away, he was talking about pay your tithes, pay it forward. And he said, before you write a book, make sure you have something to say. Make sure the story's interesting. Make sure it's a success story. So I took that advice. This is one of the motivational speakers that I really, really admired. And I took his advice and I was like, man, let me go do the work. That's the thing. It's like we want the gift, we want the dream. Go do the work. You got to take the steps in order to get there. You got to take one step, walk out the house. You want to get in better, go to just sign up. Go to one class, right? Make it a habit. If I want to talk for a living, I want to do speeches like Les Brown, I have to practice talking. I have to constantly be in a position to where I'm running my mouth. So I run my mouth all day Monday. I got 3 classes on Monday. I have 3 classes on Wednesday. Monday night, I'm talking. The only time I really get a kind of break is on Tuesdays. When I do my tours, I'm talking. So I have to talk the entire tour. I got a PA system now. Practice, practice, practice. The 10,000-hour rule, Malcolm Gladwell said. We have to get there. How do we get there? Repetition. How do you perfect the technique? Repeat it over and over again. Eventually, you will master it without even having to look. And that's the key. What are we committed to? What are we doing on a daily basis? I got a bottle full of dimes, and some of you guys remember when I was collecting my dimes. The thing is almost full. Daily deposits, and it may not seem like shit. It may not seem like much at all. But over time, you'll see an accumulation of daily deposits in your life, and you'll see the difference. You've seen it in my vocabulary, my conversation, what I'm talking. It's hard for me to talk to the homies now, which is unfortunate. It's just difficult. I'm at that stage where it's my language is different now. So it's really difficult for me to really kind of have that conversation and banter, right? What's going on? Frisco's in the building again. Appreciate you, homie. But you start to find yourself in that different position, right? I've recommended the book The Dream Giver, which talks about those wastelands, right? Where you find yourself removed from where you are or where you've been, but you're not quite to where you need to be. And there's a funky feeling that you get, right? It's a funky feeling like, damn, what do I do? I don't relate. I don't relate on either side yet. And I'm not at the PhD level, so I'm not 100% relating to them, but I'm also not in the hood anymore selling quarter pieces and zips. So I don't relate to them. So it's there's a difference, in just understanding where you came from. Like, okay, I'm not that cat anymore, right? But the universe might not be ready for the new you yet. You still got some building blocks to build. You still have some character flaws. You still bringing some of that stuff with you, which you have to leave. You have to unpack it and drop it off. That's in the other world. You have to leave it there. And we want to take you could take the game with you, you could take that, but you can't take some of this other stuff. You can't take the physicality, the other things that come along, the aggressiveness. You got to kind of leave that to where it is. Those things don't necessarily translate into the business world, right? We call them soft skills. So a lot of homies struggle with that, right? The soft skills, having to turn it off. Because once you get to the pen, you go to it's as soon as you get to the counter, you got to turn into a different person. And we've learned that, right? In the game, you got to walk around pretty much your mean mug on, right? Cat's gonna start thinking you tissue. So you got to turn it to an individual, different individual. Now, on this side of the fence, it's a little bit different, right? You got to be academically aggressive, right? You got to be a person who's easy to work with, right? It's different characteristics, different circumstances. But if you're nice like that, it doesn't matter, right? And I figure that I figure I have the skills that I can say, you know what, these are transferable, right? These can be camouflaged, right? My aggression can be turned into assertiveness, right? My willingness to hustle can be turned into multiple businesses, right? So all these different things can be translated as long as which is the whole purpose of this podcast. That's the whole purpose of this entire podcast. My intention with this podcast was to say these skills that we've accumulated over these 20 some years that we've been selling this dough, rocks, whatever, they can't go to waste because God does not waste time. There's no mistakes. There's no accidents. There's none of that. So God doesn't, he's not in that business. So it's up to us to figure it out, right? It was up to us to figure out that there was lithium in the Salton Sea, right? Anybody see that one? It's been popping. I've been reading articles on that for a minute. My mom just talked about that recently, though, right? So the resources already exist, right? Your dream already exists, man. You just haven't prepared yourself and put yourself in a position to where it gravitates towards you, so that it comes towards you. But in the meantime, you can do some things that make you more likely to run into that cat, that make it more likely where you can run into that dream, right? You could set yourself up for situations to where you're more likely to succeed or be prepared for it, right? You surround yourself with PhDs, you start going to certain functions, you start doing things for other people. Kind of my situation, then people will start to help you. Universes start to help you. So what is it that you want? Back to that, right? A lot of times we're not specific enough, therefore it doesn't produce. We don't visualize it enough, therefore the universe has no idea what it looks like. We're like, what does it look like? You're like, yeah, that yellow thing, yeah, that man, it's like it's yellow, but it's like it's fluffy. Man, what is that? That universe is like, man, that's not a description. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about, I put it in my intention. I want my backyard to be zen like, a lot of trees, pool, pond, meditation areas, just real green and lush. And I keep talking about it. So what you think my backyard is gonna look like eventually? Or you can meditate. You feel me? So you gotta be that specific. So you can't be generic with your goals and wishes. We've talked about that specific, like that waitress. God is like that waitress sitting there with a pad. Hey, what do you want? And you got to be specific about what you want. Most, I just want a ball. Man, what does that mean? And that's kind of how the universe doesn't even tell you that, but that's basically okay. I don't know what that means on me. So let me know when you're more specific. I want a 57 Chevy. I want it to be green. You can get that. And next thing you know, it's in your driveway. It now you got to do work. You might have to work an extra shift. But God to give you all the tools to do it. You see what I'm saying? God knows we're leaning towards electric. You think the lithium deposit was just random and accident? People abandoned Salton Sea. Fish died, stank, but guess what? It can help supply all these electric cars. So yeah, it at the time, yeah, people that bought into Salton Sea was trying to sell it because it was no fish. We can't vacation here. We can't do any of that. Timing was off. You got to be patient, right? You guys ever seen that thing, Acres of Diamonds? The story about the Acres of Diamonds, I talk about it all the time. I've talked about it in the past where guy Somebody sold him some land and said, "Man, there's diamonds on here." Da, 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 da. And I'm kind of moving past the story relatively fast, but and he was like, "Man, he dig, dig, dig." He was like, "Man, he didn't find nothing. Man, this guy shammed me. I'm about to find the next sucker." And he finds somebody else. And the dude got good intentions like he did. You feel what I'm saying? He had good intentions. And he found him another sucker, sold it to him. The difference we should still be good. All right, man. Sorry about that. So we had a little minor issue, but nothing unless we back. But yeah, so like I tell you guys about accidents, man. So I guess I butt dialed my dude. I had his number, so he calls me. I'm just shocked that he even called me. So I'm like, "What's up, guy?" Whoop, whoop, whoop. And he's like, "Man, just hanging this and this and that." And he just tells me what he's about to do, one of his moves, and it's like, "Man, that's what's up." But it wasn't by accident, right? I needed to touch base with him. I like to get him back on here, man. If you guys haven't watched, because you can see both. You can see it on YouTube and you can also listen to the podcast. That story is amazing, homie. Yeah, something went wrong. Yeah, it was all good though. Story was fantastic, right? He talked about how he developed, more importantly, the mistakes that he made, how he got started, all that stuff, and it was just a fantastic thing. And I got a chance to talk to him really brief though, because I'm like, dude, I don't want to bother you. You run like 6, 7 restaurants. I don't want to be in your stuff, right? But he was like, "No, it's cool." I said, "Man, you inspired me." Reason why we started doing the chicken. Just my conversation with him. So if you get a chance, go listen to that episode with Larry White from Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. If you go to Vegas, check out Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. If you go to Phoenix, go to check out Lolo's Chicken and Waffles and Brunch and Sip. Dude don't play, man. He got it popping. He you Scottsdale, you name it. He got them all over the place, man. So tap in. I think Dallas even got one too. So Lolo's is the homie, man. Support that cat. I will next time I'm in Vegas as well. But like I said, there's no accidents. And the fact that I even have him available and I don't even, you know what I'm saying? I don't work that like that. I'm like, man, I don't even, it's not like that. I appreciate what you did for me. Anything that I can do for you, because just that time that you gave me was valuable, tremendous. Planted the seed, and those are the messages that God sends. He sends the confirmation you're on the right path. Keep going, right? But you got to pay attention to the signs. If you're not aware, you're not paying attention to how God works. He's talking directly to you through messages, right? He can't make it obvious for everybody because then he wouldn't be God. But he makes it obvious for you. And most of the time, we don't pay attention to our messages. We blow them off. Or like the baseball players, like we wait, like we pitching. God be sending us messages. We're like, mm-mm, mm-mm, shaking them off, right? And he trying to tell you what to do. You're like, mm-mm. That's pay attention. Those are the ones that really, really matter, right? Those little itty bitty messages, like more like this, dude. Grab this book. Oh, this little YouTube video, little message on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Somebody catch you at the grocery store, you see a billboard, just a little piece of sign resonates with you. That's how he works. But most of the time, we're not paying attention. We're paying attention to the malarkey, the BS, the smoke signals that the enemy's putting out. That's what he wants you to see: the sirens, the homicides. Look at this, as opposed to God's messages that's going to tell you how to be up. Right? We're not paying attention to the stuff that's going to get us up, get our bank accounts up. Right? We're not paying attention to the invites. Oh, no, I ain't going over there, corny ass. Man, that may be where your next plug is. You don't know if even if you don't make it, you make it in the door, you might just, it might be the security cat. You don't know what's getting ready to happen as far as God is concerned. So show up, homie. You got to show up. You got to tap in. You don't know what people are going through. Slow down, man. Get your eye off your dream. If it ain't that time, it ain't that time. Do what can you do in between that time? The universe might not be ready, and you damn sure might not be ready. But that's okay, right? Because it's better to have a warning sign that says you're not ready than to get the bag and fumble the shit out of it. Right? Just think about that. Like you get the bag, but man, you fumble. Why? Man, I didn't have my shoes tied. Why not? I wasn't paying attention. Why not? I was distracted. Why? I don't know, dog. And it be like that. You don't even know why you're distracted, but you are. Right? I don't know what's and you get back focused and God starts to push like this is what I should have been doing. Why am I wasting my time worried about this stuff? Like today, I had to focus. I had to put my intentions on my students. I said, man, my students getting ready to deliver some excellent presentations, and they killed it. I was so happy for them because they didn't think they can do this project. This was kind of like a research-based project that some of them didn't believe they can do it. And then you should have saw the confidence on their face after they finished. That's why I do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we building people that way, right? We changing the world through the classroom. We changing the world through Facebook. You could change the world easily just by your actions and your conversation and making sure your conversations are all the way up. They asked me the other day, Professor, how you stay so positive? You come in here, you just bring an energy in here. That's what God intended me to do. I've been trying to get to this classroom. You have no idea how long it took me to get here. You think I'm gonna blow this opportunity? It's a godsend. This is they're paying me to come in here and inspire you guys. I used to do this at juvenile hall for free all the time. So you guys are easy. They give me books and stuff to help you. Right? This man, don't get better than this. That's why I'm smiling a lot. I'm like, man, what? So what's your blessing? If not, move some cheese, dog. If you ain't read that book, who moved my cheese? Read that shit. So if it ain't if life ain't giving you what you want, move your cheese, dog, before it gets moved on you. Cause hey man, people will move the cheese on us. And we'll sit up there like, man, what happened? Well, I used to come and get this all the time. Nah, man, it's gone now. That's why I got out of radio. I'm like, man, I'm gonna move my own cheese. I'm not gonna sit here and wait for them to tell me, man, when I'm ready to chill and coast. Ah, man, the industry's done. Man, not with me sitting here. So I moved my own cheese, right? Got into education, which has been a blessing to me, right? I'm working on my vocabulary, working on my presentation. I'm working on speeches. I'm working on lesson plans. I'm working on staying focused. Working on interaction, working on engagement. All these things are part of the process to become an engaging speaker, which is one of my goals from day one, right? And God gave me the tools to do it. Now, the universe wasn't ready at that time, but it will be in the time that I'm ready. And when we meet, it's going to be something magical. And oftentimes, people will call a miracle. But it's destiny because this is what me and God has been planning since day one. Nobody else knew because they weren't in the huddle. Now they're in their own huddle and should have a plan with God. Now, whether they do or not is up to you guys. When's the last time you congregated with God and asked for it? Specifically, not that yellow, kind of, I think it, what are you asking for? And did you ask specifically, can I get this? And did you say, okay, you know what, God, no matter what, thank you anyways, because I know if I don't get that, you're gonna give me what I'm supposed to have anyways, right? So a lot of times it takes us a minute to really come to terms with that may not be for me. That may be for somebody else. This is for me though, right? And then oftentimes in denial that we can be crushed and depressed, or the other option, which is to thrive, to get up and say, man, oh, that happened. Oh, man, I got denied. Denying started to be a sport for me. Denial, man, what does that mean? How does that stop me? No? Okay, you must not know who I am. Oh, really? Okay, we'll see. So far, me and God is undefeated. Period. Even in what humans perceive as a loss, me and God are undefeated. 100%. Like they say, the internet's undefeated. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Me and God are undefeated. We haven't lost yet. And we looking for phase, new phase. The enemy? Yeah, we know what he capable of. We ain't even worried about that. We looking for new phase now. And God, all we got to do is set our intention. We straight. We go in there and Javante Davis this shit, right? And that's the thing. You got to understand who's the only person you could do it with, and understand that if they tell you, just like any type of coach would tell you in boxing, hey man, you go to the body. Ah, man, you ain't ready for this catch yet, man. Get a couple more fights under your belt. You got to listen to your coach, right? And in this case, God is the coach. And we got to listen to him. Universe ain't ready for that yet, homie. You're moving too fast. And if you move too fast, you're going to miss out on some key things. So God is talking to be tough about changing careers. I know it's scary, but sometimes you have to do it, especially if you see yourself as hitting the ceiling, right? Right now is the best time to be alive. There's a lot of opportunity out there. And I'm not saying quit a job because I know a lot of times stability is involved in that. I would never suggest anybody quit anything. But what I would suggest is start to plant your seeds now, right? If you're curious about something, you want to start playing with it while you have the income, right? And just parlay it into something until it can be something different, right? Until you can rely on something 100%. But yeah, take baby steps, right? People will often tell you to leap and all that stuff. I'm not telling anybody to do anything to put themselves in financial harm. First of all, because that can be a whole nother stress, that can be a whole nother, deal. But what I am saying is we got to take risk in life, all right, in order to succeed, right? You cannot hit if you ain't in the dice game, right? T to Lee, homie. Period. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it popping. And not gambling against somebody, You gambling against yourself. Who am I? What do I need? What does this world need? What can I provide? Is there a void that I can fit into, right? That provides value to these people, right? Right now, the thing, and even my students will tell you right now, the key is saving people time, which is why Uber Eats and all that stuff is popping. You save people time, that's the equivalent to saving people money. So Chat GPT, all that stuff, there's so many tools out here right now you can be a beast with, right? If we sit down and take the time. The problem is we don't think that that time, or we think things are going to take too long, or we think that it's already crowded. We think somebody's already done it. We think that um, um, it's going to be expensive to get started. We think all these things, and we tell ourselves no before the universe tells us no. So let the universe tell you no, like, hey, dog, your timing is off a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't, man, Diamond Taco, like, they were like, okay, yeah, that's a little crazy, right? But there's other things that you can do to potentially tap into certain things, right? And play with certain things and see where the opportunity is. And that's why I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, the 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 proximity to university libraries is crucial, right? And just that access, because you can do so much research about which way to go. They have these tools at their disposal, and it's insane and almost damn near unfair. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, it's not that difficult to get to that stuff. And you want to look at things now because there's some opportunities. People, yeah, you got your get rich quick, get rich quick people, which are an anomaly. Trust me, they don't. This stuff takes, and I'm not rich, so I'm not speaking from like I'm sitting on something, but I'm working my way towards that, right? And the universe may not be ready for that for me yet, right? And financially, I may not be financially um, equipped to handle that kind of money yet, but I'm getting there. I'm understanding things, right? And God is preparing me now with smaller versions of it. So I understand that, yeah, my ultimate goal is to have a $10 million pad down in Manhattan Beach. But right now, universe and me may not be ready for that yet, but it's coming. And I speak this stuff into existence because I know, as I stated, me and God are undefeated. That will conclude our weekly tap in for this week, man. I hope you guys are reading. I hope you guys are listening to things that are positive, that are hopefully changing your life, man. It's what we listen to on a day-to-day basis and what we don't listen to on a day-to-day basis that are going to have the most impact on our lives, right? If we're constantly hearing nag and we're constantly hearing we're not that person, we're constantly hearing those things, we're going to start to absorb those things. And we can't, right? Our lives are too crucial. We need to make daily deposit of positivity, right? We need to read positive books. We need to and listen and engage in positive thoughts, man. That's the only way to defeat the enemy, period. I promise you, you could try to battle them head up. You could try to do that, but prayer, right? Ask God for help and get cracking. All right. That will conclude the weekly tap in. I hope you guys, if you haven't left us a review, please do so at your earliest convenience. I know we went a little bit early. Tonight, but I know it was short and powerful. So I apologize about the little small technical snafu. You guys may be able to hear some of the missing pieces if you re-listen to the podcast. But other than that, I will conclude the weekly tap in, and I am tapping out.